great introduction. I shall share my screen and hopefully everybody will be able to see that. That will come through. So yeah, I'm going to talk about the importance of having a website and search engine optimization. Obviously, once you get your website built, you need to then actually get it found into Google. So I shall kick off with a question really and saying, there are so many ways to market your business. It's quite confusing. The man in the pub, as Alan's just said, will tell you what he thinks is the best way. But really, there's 101 ways of marketing your business when you want to start your business. So it can be online, it can be offline. You might have a shop front in the high street. You might put posters up around the town or banners up on the side of the road. You might look at magazine advertising, possibly email marketing, which we'll hear about shortly. Social media marketing, which Gary will talk about later. Networking. Fabio and I are both very keen networkers, and word of mouth marketing is key to our businesses. But the truth is, really, you need to do all of those, and you need to be aware of them all, and you need to try a bit of everything. You will eventually find out what suits you best and concentrate on that one. But for today's sort of webinar, I want to really sort of focus on the importance of having a website and the significance of Google. It's one of those brands that everybody knows. There are actually 74,000 Google searches per second, I'm told, and having a really good online presence is a great way to specifically target those potential clients of yours, because we can identify your potential clients and the people who are looking for your services. We can identify where they live, so if you've got a business that deals locally, you can identify people locally. If you're national or international, you can also identify the right people. But using search engine optimization or SEO techniques, that is the way to find these people, get them to visit your website. And 94% of business-to-business buyers say that they research online before they make a decision to buy. So it's absolutely crucial that you do have a presence online. And 77% of business-to-consumer customers, so that's people looking to buy, shopping, etc., they make a purchase based on what they found online and what they've read on social media proof and recommendations. But marketing, it's all about getting the right message in front of the right people at the right time. And if you're not online, sadly, your competitors are. So that's where you'll really miss out if you don't feature online with your website. So why do you have a website? Well, there's two reasons really why you should have a website. One is for sales, if you're selling a physical product. So you might have an e-commerce website, so people will be buying products online through your website. And the other option is to have a website just to generate enquiries. So those businesses that don't necessarily have a physical product to sell, but they offer a service. And you want your website to attract the people that are after your service. But basically the aim of a website is to connect your business with your customers. And of course it's 24 hours a day and 365 days of the year. So it's a great, fairly reasonably cheap, economical route to market that works. When you're asleep, your website can still be generating sales for you. So recommendations in getting online quickly. First thing to do is register a domain name, so your www.name. And I'd advise you to register a name that's relevant to your business. You might find there's all sorts of fancy names out there, like Moonpig and things like that we've all heard of. But obviously, when you're starting out, nobody knows who Moonpig is. So think of a website domain name that's relevant to your business, tells your potential customers who you are and what you do. Then, if you're really on a budget, there are some free do-it-yourself website builders out there. There's brands such as Wix, W-I-X, which allow you to build your own websites and they'll host them for you. You can register a domain name through companies like 123reg, and they have their own website builders as well. So you'll be able to very quickly and fairly simply get a free website up there. Brilliant from day one. If you're still maybe even just thinking about exactly what your business is going to do, start and get a website up there to build presence. But I would recommend that you maybe try and get some cash together and go for a WordPress website from day one. A free website's great. It's very tempting, but I speak to a lot of people 6 months in who've made a success. They've grown the business, and they've very quickly outgrown the free websites. And if you then end up changing website, it can have a negative effect in Google, and you could lose some of the goodwill that you've built up in Google. So it's going to cost you a little bit more. We'll talk about that later, but if you can upgrade, try and go for a WordPress website if you can. And really a tip on when you do build your website, what should it look like? There's the fact that 85% of website visitors don't scroll down the page. So if you have a really nice big pretty picture at the top of the page and all your important stuff is underneath that picture, 85% of people visiting your website won't actually get to read it. So you must really put your offer right at the top in that prime area. Neatly present your offer so instantly people can read it and know exactly what to do. An example here from Netflix, we all kind of know what Netflix does, but instantly it's not flash, it's not fancy. There's pictures of films in the background, big headline, unlimited films, TV programs and more. Says what it does. Watch anywhere, create a membership, big red button, get started. That's what we call a call to action, so make sure that's really clear. If people read that and think, yeah, this is what I'm looking for, I do want to watch films, they will then scroll down the page and read more. But initially, you've got that big picture area at the top there, below which is invisible to most people. So make sure your message is clear. You don't need an all singing or dancing website either. You don't need to spend a lot of money on it. You can have a single page website that just basically just has that clear message, tells your visitors what you do, and that can convert the customers fairly quickly. In fact, a single page website with one service or one product actually works really well in Google, because you can then really target exactly who you want to visit that website. So you can even have multiple websites if you've got multiple products and services. But once you've got your website up and running, then the key to it now is really getting found. And we all know that anyone looking for a product will start in Google. It's a Google search where people will go. So this is an idea of a Google page. This shows what happens when you do search for a phrase. Search engine optimization helps by being very specific, and basically whenever someone's using a search engine to find information that's relevant to your business, you want to be there so people can see you. Now there's various ways you can get into Google. The top area here in red is what we call Google advertising, or pay-per-click, or PPC, Google Ads. And this is where you pay Google to put a link to your website at the top of the page. Now the advantage is that this can be set up and your website link can be live within hours, certainly by the next day. Disadvantage is there's a little ad symbol at the side, so it is obvious that that's an advert. And some people are quite savvy now to those adverts and realise that they are adverts. I see things that aren't particularly relevant to the search that I've put in there. So the other option is actually to go for the green area there, which is what we call organic or natural search engine optimization listings. And these are the results that Google decides to display. Now, Google only has one job, and its job is to display an answer to the question that you've asked when you do your search. Now, organic search traffic, so the green area, the natural search engines, they actually account for 73% of all traffic to businesses. So that's where people go to. And 75% of that traffic actually only click on the first top 2 listings. So you generally get 10 listings per page. If you're not on the first page of Google, then there's a very limited chance that people are actually going to click through onto multiple pages, unless they're very specific in what they're looking for, or they know what they're looking for, and they will be a bit more patient and click through and find you. But the organic listings is the key. That's the holy grail. That's where you want to be. Unfortunately, it does take a few months, potentially. It takes a bit longer to get into the top of those listings. And I'll explain how you can do that shortly, but that's where you want to be. Another great tip is the orange area there, which is indicated, which is what we call Google My Business, and that's actually a Google service. That's free to set up. You can set up a Google My Business listing, and if Google likes what you put in there, they will display your website for you with, you can add pictures on there, you can put your opening times, you can put a map of your location if you want people to actually visit you, and also you can highlight your Google reviews, which is absolute gold dust for people looking to choose a business to work with and get recommendations. So Google My Business is a real good tip. If you've got a business already, then make sure that you're on there, Google My Business. But basically, the thing to look at next is the keywords and the importance of using the right keywords. So you'll see there in the red box I've highlighted website designer Macclesfield. That's the keyword that somebody's put in to potentially find my services that I do as Nettle. Now, my advice here is don't go after the keywords that have got really high volume, because if you go for a search phrase such as website, then that's very, very competitive. Lots of people are going to be potentially bidding for that keyword as a website, and actually you'll get traffic that you don't want, because people might put the word website in if they're looking for a course to become a website designer, they're looking for a college course, or they want to sell a website, or they just want to know a bit about what is a website. So what we call long tail keywords is my tip to go for. A long tail keyword is a phrase really of 3 words or more. So they're low search volumes, which means that they're low competition, but actually they can be very specific in terms of what you want your visitors to search for and come to. So the example there is website design in Macclesfield. I'd love to have clients near me, so anybody looking for a website designer in Macclesfield is going to find my listing. Somebody searching website designer in Watford, not necessarily my customer base, so I don't want them to particularly click on my link and waste my time. So be very specific on what you actually want people to search for, and use those keywords wisely. But remember, a stunning fact that I found is 1 in 7 Google searches is actually a brand new, unique search that's never been searched before. Now, you've probably noticed that Google is very clever, and they will offer you results as you are typing in your search phrase. They'll try and give you what they think you're looking for, and quite often they're right. That Google knows before you do what you're looking for. But 1 in 7 searches is a brand new, unique version, unique search. So think of it wisely on what your customers might be looking for. So how do you get your website up on the top of Google in the natural search engine rankings? Well, to be honest, it's complicated. That's why you have specialists who do it all day. There's literally thousands of factors that affect search engine rankings. And Google has what they call an algorithm that looks on people's websites. You may have heard of a spider that crawls your website and reads all your words. And Google's algorithm works out whether your website's any good or not. Now, Google changes their algorithm regularly. In fact, in 2017, Google made 2,453 changes to their algorithm. And that works out at over 7 times a day. So don't try and second guess what Google are doing. You have to work out. But basically, there's 3 key elements to making sure Google loves your website. The first one is the performance of your website. So performance can be the speed that it takes to load. So when you click on the link, how long does it take to actually load onto your mobile phone, or does it load onto your desktop computer? It's all about the technicality of how it's built. And also the fact that it works on a mobile phone. We've got to the stage now where more people are looking at websites on a mobile device than on a desktop device. So you want to make sure that your website works well on a mobile device. In fact, Google have introduced recently what they're calling mobile first, and they're starting to look at people's websites based on their mobile version first. The mobile is becoming the priority. So make sure that your website is built properly and works across all those devices. So after performance, we've got relevance. Your website needs to be relevant. So if somebody's looking for, in my example, a website designer in Macclesfield, you want to make sure that your website talks about being a website designer in Macclesfield. If I click on that link and go to a business that's talking about selling jewellery, I'm going to be disappointed. So Google is not going to list me under that key phrase. So Google's job is to deliver the best result, the best page, the best answer to your question. So the relevance has to be in the content of the website. And the content of your website is what we call on-page search engine optimization. So what is actually on your page is what Google will read, will list, and see whether you are any good. So if your content is good and you're relevant and you know what your search engine question is going to be and you can answer that question, then Google will display your website in their search results. But how does Google decide which one goes at the top and which one goes down at the bottom? Well, partly that is down to the third element, the third of the three, which is authority. So your website has to have authority to rank high in Google. So it needs to be trustworthy. We need to show that these are a reputable company. They're a good business. The website's maybe been around for 12 months or longer. It's not just a brand new start. There's a bit of history there. And you might have heard a lot about people talking about backlinks, so links to your website. So if somebody else puts a link to your website on their website, then Google sees that as really good authority. The fact that if you're linking to their website, then you must think that their website's good, otherwise you wouldn't link to their website. So that becomes builds up the trust between those two websites. So a good way of building up your authority and knowledge is also to answer people's questions on your site. So if people are looking for a product or a service, make sure that you talk about that product or service and think, what are the questions that they're going to be asking? What's going to persuade them to contact us? So a lot of people have a frequently asked questions page or an FAQ page, a section where they answer a lot of the common questions that people ask. And you can become the go-to resource then for your specialism, become the actual leader of what you do. A good website for that is a website called answerthepublic.com, and that is where you can actually type in some keywords that are relevant to your business, and it will tell you the questions that people have been asking historically about those services. It will actually give you the questions to answer. So it really is, you can then go away and write answers to those questions. Just show your authority, show that you are the market leader in what you do, and people will then find you. Google will find you, put you at the top of the listings. If you're at the top of the listings, people will then click on you. And using things like Google Analytics, we can really monitor how many people are clicking on those links, what search engine phrases they're using, which pages they go to, which are your most popular pages. So what we do as part of the process is we set the website up and then we monitor how people go going forward and what's working, what's not working. Find out what's working and do more of it. If it's not working, change it. If you're finding that there are pages on your website that people aren't visiting, but they're really key pages, then there's a reason they're not visiting them. So is it clear? Is it logical how to find those pages? So maybe your navigation needs a bit of addressing. So just sort of rounding up a few of the recommendations I've put there is some of these links to places that you need to know about when you're starting up your business. Literally, if you just Google these phrases, you'll find these websites. So Wix is the website builder that I mentioned, where you can build a website for free, and they're very, very intuitive, very, very easy to use. Great for people to start off on a budget. And lots of people do that, but as I mentioned, if you've got a bit more budget, my recommendation would be just to upgrade slightly and try and get into WordPress, which is fully expandable. So even if you only build a single page WordPress website, you can then build on it and expand on it. You'll never run out, you'll never need to replace it. You can just expand and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Then we've got Google My Business. As I mentioned, that's a free service that Google offers. So make sure you get your business registered on Google My Business, get your listing. Again, if you use Google's tools, Google likes that. They love you using their tools. So if you just the fact that you've used Google My Business shows them that you care and helps you in your search engine results. Again, Google Keyword Planner. That's a great resource, free resource. You can log in, just create an account, and you can do searches, and it will tell you what people actually look for. It will give you the number of searches and the keywords, how popular they are. It's a great tool just to find out how to present the keywords and what keywords to use. And we've got Answer the Public, which I mentioned, which you can really just put in your keywords there, go for search, and it will tell you all the questions that people are asking, and then you'll be able to answer those questions. Just build up that authority, show people that you actually know what you're talking about, and what better way than Google telling you what questions people are looking for that you can answer. And then again, a website, you might come across this website, a company called Fiverr. Really good resource. It's a global resource, this website, and there's people on there, freelance designers, freelance website builders, freelance search engine people, whatever you want, you can get it as a freelance service on Fiverr. Really recommend having a look through there. It can suck all your money because you think, oh, that looks good, I'll do that. That looks really good, I'll do that. But it's a great resource for people who are starting out on their business journey to get people. You can search by country, so if you want to make sure you're just getting UK-based suppliers, you can do that quite easily. You'll see there's quite a lot of offshore freelancers there as well. The good thing is that people get ratings. People who've used their services will give them a star rating, so you know that you're going to be using somebody good. And there's loads of resources out there. So that's really from me, just sort of where you can get some good information from. The importance of a website. Obviously, I'm slightly biased, but there's so many ways of marketing your business. The website definitely is the major one, because it's where everybody goes. You know yourselves as looking for services. That's where you go. So make sure you build up a really good website, and then we work together and get it found in Google. That's the key to it. I always use the story. There's no point installing a telephone line if you don't tell anybody your telephone number. So you need to build the website, and then you need to get it into Google, and that way you'll get traffic and get sales. Through Google advertising, you can be getting sales the next day. It's that quick. So yeah, there's lots to learn. Hopefully that's helped a bit of the knowledge. If people want to learn a bit more, my details are there. So you can email me, and I'll put my LinkedIn link is in the chat as well, so people can look into the chat bar, connect with me. I'm happy to answer people's questions, and if there's anything that we can help you with websites, we will. That's the end of my story. So hopefully there might be some questions. I shall have a quick look in the chat and see if anybody's been asking any questions.
Well, I've definitely got a few.
Oh, you might have a question, Gary.
Yeah. Well, one, how does this link in with the academy?
So within the academy, obviously my presentation there was via Nettle, which is my sort of day job, designing websites for people. But bringing that knowledge into the academy, we run the Business Startup Academy with we put together a program that's 12 pillars of starting your business, and one of those pillars is marketing and how to market your business. So you will, on that academy course, you will learn all these special tips and tricks. Really, the academy works, Fabio and myself, with our knowledge of 30 plus years of running our own business. And we've not just bought a book and reading out of a book and teaching what someone else has told us to teach. This is our knowledge, and the beauty of the academy is we've all built businesses from scratch. The members, the teachers within the academy have all had businesses fail, and I think that's absolutely critical as well. I've had a business that went into administration. Fab's had a business that's failed, and failing is not a negative. A failure is your first attempt in learning, as we say, and all that knowledge.
Morton, you just nicked my line.
I've nicked it. Good. shut you up. But no, it's really important. I say I've had a business go into administration. I know exactly why it went into administration, and that's the type of learnings that we can share within our startup academy. You're learning from people who've been there and done it and got the bruises from it as well.
Oh, I love it. Ruby in the audience has asked, what has been your favourite website to build?
Wow, well, there's a few actually. I was trying to work out. I've built over 150 websites now, and one of the early websites I built is not, it's not live now, unfortunately. But we actually built Lawrence Llewellyn-Bowen's website when he was on Changing Rooms. So that was a really flamboyant website, and we were using all sorts of patterns and colours and all sorts of things. So it was great to work with Lawrence Llewellyn-Bowen and build his website. There's a website I'm building at the moment, not live yet, but that's a website for supercar owners. So people who own Ferraris and Lamborghinis, offering them driving days and track days and European driving holidays and things like that. So cars is a passion of mine, so that's great to have a website that works with your passion as well. But I love building websites because you have to get to know the customer's business, the ins and outs of their business. I have to learn about their business, and believe me, there's all sorts of stuff out there that you just didn't know existed, and it amazes me every day what people can make a living out of selling and doing. So yeah, it's brilliant, really good. But yeah, the academy is the place, definitely. That's where you'll share in all this knowledge that we've got.
I love it. Lee's our next speaker. We'll be talking about email marketing. Which is essential. It's amazing. I've already did some Instagram lives with him. It was pretty fun. Fabio, have you got any questions?
No, I think, having seen Steve in action for a few years now, we know what he's like. In Italian called Il Postino. He's the postman. He always delivers. So, it's.
I'll take that.
If you have to a good website, then he will deliver you a good website on different budgets. But I think his high end work is is amazing, and the work he's done with startup businesses as well has been really, really cool. And great advice and great help. So I think for me, I know what Steve can do.
Yeah, I think the key to it is we're not here to make money out of people. We're here to support new businesses. A lot of businesses don't have a big budget, which is why I'm saying if you've not on a big budget, then Wix is a fantastic resource. It's going to get you going, and the key is get going.
Question, Steve. Way back when, I remember a tip was to have your keyword phrase as part of your URL. Is that still recommended?
It still helps. It's not as significant as it was. Google is very, very clever, and you can't kid Google. There used to be all sorts of techniques of putting they call it keyword stuffing, but filling your website with your keywords, white text on a white background so nobody saw it. And it used to be great. Google used to love it, and it worked. But when Google found out about it, then you got blacklisted. And once Google blacklists you, then
you might as well start over. You get punished.
So it's game over. So yeah, there's loads of techniques out there, that Google does love. But as I mentioned, Google changes their algorithm. Steve,
in the interest of time, I've loved your talk. In fact, it's great to speak with a fellow geek. Just to ask you, like I've asked all the guests today, what have you had any takeaways from COVID? Anything that's been fundamental to you?
I think it's accelerated the e-commerce side of things. We've all seen Mr. Bezos make a fortune on Amazon. Wow, if we only had shares in Amazon 16 months ago. But yeah, I'm speaking to lots of customers who have had to, I don't like the phrase, but they've pivoted and they're now selling their products online. Lots of shops have had to close and sell things online. So for me, it's been a really busy 12 or 13 months with trying to get people increasing their online presence. And the thing is, it's not going to go backwards. people aren't going to turn their websites off come the 21st of June. People are now used to buying online and shopping online and visiting websites. So yeah, the internet's. I'm privileged really to make a living out of being offering internet services.
You're helping the economy get back to how it should be.